My name's Connie Gross, and I'm an infant and early childhood mental health consultant for the Children's Resource Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. And today, I just wanted to do a quick strategy video about using Elf on the Shelf in a classroom. I don't know when you're watching this video, but today is November 30th. And so we're right on the brink of that Christmas excitement that comes with December. And I know sometimes teachers consider using an elf on the shelf or an elf cam. And there are some things that they should maybe think about before they do that in their classroom. So one thing to think about is that the elf on the shelf, it can in some ways be kind of undermining relationships and behavior management in your classroom. Most teachers have a behavior management system already, and using the elf on the shelf is an idea, a kind of a behavior management system. And so, in any other setting, we wouldn't want a teacher to change her behavior management system for 1 month, right? That would be kind of offsetting in the middle of the year. And that's true around Christmas too. The other thing is that the whole principle of Elf on the Shelf is that the elf is watching and kind of tells Santa about bad behavior. And so there's a couple important things that are missing there. We really want to focus on positive behavior and reinforce that. We know what we pay attention to, we're going to see more of. And so that's a component that's really missing in this idea of elf on the shelf, is that the elf is kind of looking for naughty behavior and then going to tell. And it kind of disrupts the authority in the classroom. In most classrooms, the authority is the teacher, but in this idea, the authority is Santa, or maybe even the elf, or the elf cam. It really kind of undermines and takes away from the teacher's ability to kind of keep order in the classroom, when the idea is that someone's going to kind of report to a higher level of authority there. And we need to keep in mind that some of the children who come into our classrooms, they have a hard time trusting grown-ups. And as a teacher, you've worked really hard to build trust with the children in your classroom. And this idea does kind of promote the idea of like kind of telling on them, or having a kind of a spy to tell on them. And that can be undermining of that relationship. So we want to kind of keep those things in mind when we think about doing an elf on the shelf. Something else to consider is that whether we like it or not, Elf on the Shelf does kind of promote tattling, right? It's like a thing in your classroom that's trying to catch the bad behavior. And so you probably are going to see a lot more children tattling. And you might even see some children feeling pretty dysregulated because other children are being bad, and maybe they're afraid that they're sitting near them, or that the elf will say the whole class is bad or something. So that might breed some kind of negative feelings about that. It's also important to keep in mind that as teachers, you're really, really busy. And I don't know if everyone's going to choose to do this, but one of the things that Elf on the Shelf has morphed into is that the elf does kind of crazy antics every day. And that's a lot. It's a lot for teachers to do in the classroom. It's a lot for teachers to manage. There's oftentimes rules about how the elf can't be touched, and certain things have to be done certain ways. And that just adds to what's already a pretty chaotic time of the year. And then the last thing to keep in mind, and I'm sure most teachers think about this, but not all children do celebrate Christmas. And so the idea that you're having something in the classroom that kind of reports to Santa may not have any bearing for them, or oftentimes children do have some feelings around that when everyone else in their class is talking about Santa and Christmas and presents, and maybe they don't do that. That can kind of maybe impact the way that they feel about the holiday or that time of year. And I think it's really important for teachers to remember that ultimately Santa is something that happens at home, and we don't really control that. And so keeping in mind that, even if they said and did a lot of naughty things and the elf told a lot of naughty things, what happens at home might be very different than what happens at school. And so that can be kind of a confusing system. So these are some things for teachers to keep in mind. If teachers decide that they really want to use an elf on the shelf, or maybe you're watching this video and you're like, oh man, I hadn't thought of those things and I've already started elf on the shelf, it's not lost. You could make your elf on the shelf positive. Have kind of the elf's job to be looking for positive behavior, and those are the things they're going to report to Santa, no negative behavior. You might even consider calling your elf like a kindness elf, and he kind of reports to you and not Santa, which keeps the authority in the classroom. That would be a really cool idea. So for more thoughts about pros and cons of using Elf on the Shelf, there's a link below this picture. And I hope this has given you some things to think about. We have a YouTube channel that has hundreds of videos for professionals, parents, working in early childhood with a wide range of topics. And we also have a Facebook page. Follow us there for more information about social emotional wellness for young children. Hope you have a great holiday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.